Hello everyone, welcome back to Easy Education London, and today we are looking at the 11 plus NVR Complete the Grid. Now, we have looked at the NVR previously, and there was an acronym that we were following, so it goes by SNAPs. So S stands for shapes, so you look at the shapes. Is there a consistent pattern within the shapes, or are they all different? N stands for number, look at the number of dots, look at the number of lines, the number of sides, etc. A is angle, so look at the angle is in 90 degrees, is in a 45-degree angle. And then P stands for position. Look at the position of the lines, the dots, and is it consistent or does it change? S stands for size. Look at the size. Is it all the same size, or is it larger or smaller from one square to another? And then finally, S stands for shading. Look at the shading, and is there a consistent pattern? So these are some areas for you to explore when you are asked to complete the grid. So let's have a look at some past paper questions, just to give you a better insight. So question number 1, as you can see, we've got 3 squares here with this pattern. So you've got different squares and circles, and you've got shading. So what I would like to do is essentially look at the first one here and the second grid as well. So if we look at the first square, you can see you've got a circle with a shaded region in black. You've got these 2 shapes here with a black region which is shaded, but also you've got this triangle at the bottom left. And what you notice from 1 to 2 is this bottom left is reflected, right? So you've got this triangle on the bottom left, and that same pattern, okay, if you look at your snaps, you need to consider position. Look at the position of the triangle. It's actually at the bottom, so bottom left to bottom right. So we can already assume that for the third picture, right, you've got this triangle again on the top left, right? So now for the fourth one, it should be on the top right. So if we look for that same pattern between A, B, C, D, and E, which ones actually follow this? So the potential answers could be B, D, or E, right? Because this is the pattern that it follows, and especially if you think about position, right? So these are the ones that can be the answers. So if we use cancelling out, this is where you cross out the answers which are definitely wrong. We know that A and C will be wrong. The reason being, it doesn't follow this pattern. So for that reason, I'm going to cross out A, and I'm also going to cross out C, okay? So that is one way to already narrow down your options and help you get to the final answer. And then the next step is for us to look at the other shapes or the other patterns that we can find. So if we look at the shapes, now within the middle, if you see here, the 2 shaded regions here in black, so in the center, so as you can see here and here, again, it's being reflected. So same concept, if it's being reflected in the third image, it should be the same for the fourth. So the only one which actually follows and adheres to that will in fact be D, okay? Because if you look at E, there's nothing shaded in, and also B, there's nothing shaded in. And the only one where you've got a shaded region and it's reflected correctly will have to be option D. So for therefore that reason, the answer must be D. So if you selected D, well done, and that's how you'd break down the question. Okay, very simple. And you can already see B and E why they are going to be incorrect, because there's nothing shaded in. So it's all empty here, and also this one. And also for E, there's nothing shaded in. So therefore we know B and E are definitely wrong. And that only leaves us with D. So the final answer is D. Moving on to question 2. So let's have a look at image 1 and then image 2. So if we look at image 1, image 2, I can already see a pattern, right? So it's being reflected, okay? So again, the line, so you've got these squares 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You've got this one here and this one here. It's being reflected, but also if you look at the pattern going diagonal from the top left to the bottom right, it goes white, black, white, black, white, black, white. Then there's 2 black squares, then white, then there's a black square at the bottom right. And then that same pattern is reflected in image 2. So if you start from the top right, it goes white, black, white, black, white, black, white, two blacks, white, and then back to black. Now, clearly, okay, so you can see that pattern is being replicated for image 2. Now, if we look at image 3, so that's bottom left, can we assume it will be the same? Yes, absolutely, because you're completing the grid. Now, what can I expect? So if you look at this this shape here, you can assume this will be somewhere within, if I go back. So hang on, if I rub this out. So you could assume that this shape would be probably somewhere around somewhere here, right? So if we look at the options A, B, C, D, and E, which one is replicating that same idea and position? So if you look at snaps, again, we're looking at position. Which one has the same shape positioned in the same location? Definitely not D, because remember, the shape also needs to be entirely shaded in black, okay? So let's just do this like this very quickly. So we know D cannot be the answer because it doesn't follow the pattern, okay? It's white, black, white, black, white, so we know that's wrong. We know E is wrong as well because look at the position, it's on the right-hand side, but we need it on the left-hand side. So that's cancelled out. So that leaves us between A, B, and C. So you may be wondering, what do we do next? So the next step is to look at the other areas of the shape. So if we look at the top, or the image 3, look at the pattern from the top left to the top right. So it goes black, okay, so it goes black square to, then there's 3 squares going diagonal, and then back to the middle, back down, and then back up. So which other one is following that same idea? Now, the only one we can see that follows that, it cannot be A because you've got a white square here. So definitely not A. So you will cancel out A. Can it be C? Can it be B? So we're left with B or C. It must be between one of them, right? Another key area for us to explore, if you look at the region here, you can see almost like a T, the letter T being shaped here. So if that's reflected for image 4, don't you think you should find this T-like shape for image 4? Absolutely. If you look at C, you've only got one T shape. So therefore, the only correct answer must be B, because you can see there's 2 T shapes. So for that reason, the correct answer is in fact B. So if you have chosen B as the correct answer, well done. And this is a simple way of breaking down these questions. And I know, again, it does take some time, but with practice, you'll be able to pick up the pace and your time management will improve rapidly as well. So again, this is just a step-by-step process of how to get to the final answer. And if you follow this, it will definitely make it easier for you to answer in the real exam. So follow snaps. Remember, you may not have to use all of them. So for example, shapes, number, angle, position, size, and shading. You might not have to use all of them. It could be one that will help you get to the final answer. And that takes us towards the end of the video. For any tuition for 11 plus for GCSEs, A-levels, and primary school SATs, please contact our company at easyeducationlondon@gmail.com. Leave us an email with your inquiry, and my team will be getting back to you in regards to tuition. Other than that, thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like, and share for more. Thank you.